So why don't we hop back into game number 1 and we can continue where we were.
All right, guys. Well, once more, this is game number 1 of the grand finals. Cloud9 Maelstrom on the red side. It's going to be Tempo Storm on the blue side. Both compositions are identical to what we saw those first 3 minutes of.
Yes, and of course the talents that were picked up for these teams I can also see is exactly the same. So no real hidden strategies were swapped out or anything. I think both these guys are playing fair. I always like to see that because we get some really, really strong matches between these guys. And I think that this series, the grand finals, will be no exception.
All right, guys. Well, the gates are open. Both teams posturing across the map, just scouting each other out, making sure nothing too cheeky is happening. But KO, he is setting up camp with those creep timbers, and they will just give him vision, movement speed, and health regen across this bottom lane. Already, 4 of them are down.
Okay, and again, it all has to do with that vision control. We mentioned it, but you still have to, always emphasize this. The Zagara and, of course, the Brightwing as well with that scouting drone. It's always going to make a big difference in terms of having control of those turning points so that you can have control of the objective on this map, the Web Weavers.
Yeah, the Web Weavers are just such a very powerful push utility that you can grab, and paired with something like the Locust of Abathur and the minions of Zagara, that is just a massive, massive wave. But they do have heroes like Kael'thas and Jaina with some pretty crazy AoE damage.
Yes, that's right. So if you guys didn't happen to catch the talents that we were sort of running through for the first time through, we talked a little bit about Zeratul picks with the Regen Master. And seems to be a bit of a preferential thing in terms of making sure that you have sustain in the wave rather than going for that Seasoned Marksman to power up your auto attack.
Yeah, well, we're going to find out. The creep spread, once again, very nice here in the bottom lane. We do see the stun going down onto Zeratul, but Blink is just a... Ooh, wow, Johanna, the tankiest hero, falling on the side of Tempo?
Yeah, I think that seems to be the case. Just a little bit of overstepping in the position. And Maelstrom, that will find them with a very, very slight advantage in terms of experience, but not too much, especially considering this is early game. Maybe we'll relinquish a little bit of control in terms of getting those gems, which are oh so important to getting that map objective.
All right, well, iDream in the top lane, just dancing around. Zuna keeping his eyes on him. The bottom, we do have a few of those gems available for turn-in. Caffeine thinking about it, but he wants to sit there on his pony.
Yeah, we can see Maelstrom is being very proactive about clearing out that creep. It's not free vision. You need to make sure that you're very active about putting those creep tumors down. Any AoE will reveal them as they're a cloaked sort of small unit, I guess, that stays in place and spreads that creep. So it's going to be a battle back and forth, making sure that the vision is there for Tempo Storm and that Maelstrom is taking that away as much as possible.
All right, well, the gems, we do see they're starting to ramp up a little bit, but Kael'thas is going to end up falling in the map here. But Dreadnought, very low right now. Polymorph goes out, not going to be enough. 11 gems. Half and draft. Arthalon is stepping out. This is so risky.
He's crazy, but they didn't respond at all, so he is able to scoop up those gems, and that's going to put, that takedown, it does sting a little bit, of course, to see the Brightwing fall, but if you can take those gems back, that helps, especially in terms of the objective.
Yeah, 1 to 2 in terms of the takedowns. At this point in time, Zagara continues to just make sure she has vision on the bottom lane. Brightwing using that scouting drone vision in the top portion of the map. That's the name of the game here. But we're at level 5. What do the talents look like right now, Kubi?
Okay, we do have Laws of Hope for Johanna, and pairing that up with Night Takes Bomb, but it's really going to be a very sustainy style Johanna. I can only imagine probably battle momentum picked up at level 7, but it's just a very, very difficult hero to take down. It's sort of like a mini first aid just for her. But hold on a second, we see Brightwing taken down once again. Dreadnought finding himself just a little bit out of position. So far, the takedowns are advantage to Maelstrom, 3-1.
Yeah, I mean, Brightwing has fallen twice now in quick succession, so that is very rough to have to deal with that. Right now, we have quite a few gems available once more, 12, 13 respectively on the 2 members there for Cloud9. They can turn in if they just eliminate those tumors, and that's exactly what King Caffeine is doing.
All right, Jake, as the Rhaegar Master, we do see the Farsight picked up at level 4. Comparing that to what, maybe Feral Heart, what do you think the motivation is for grabbing this?
Well, we've talked about vision so many times in this matchup. The creep tumors and the scouting drone available for Tempo Storm. They need something to combat that. They don't have Oracle from Tassadar. They don't have anything of the like. So I think actually just crucial at this point in time to pick up something like Farsight.
Okay, just to make sure they have tabs of the enemy team. Dunk Train getting a little bit low, but we'll be able to retreat back behind his wall. Sort of a very sort of calm early game between these 2 teams. Both teams just really collecting the gems. Quite a few available to both teams, although we have to say that Cloud9 Maelstrom has turned in a fair bit more.
Yeah, they certainly have. I mean, 32 to 24 right now, more gems going in constantly, it seems. We do see Dreadnought is going to use that Pixie Dust to back on out. Right now, the rotations have been superior by Cloud9, but it looks like Soldier going to try to catch Caffeine out of position. Not going to work out with a nice timed Dwarf Toss.
Yeah, we saw a few stuns that were thrown down onto Zeratul, and if those are chained together just like that later on in the game, that could force out a little bit of overextension from Zeratul. That's always sort of the scary line that you're dealing with when you're playing Zeratul. Yes, he has the blink for the mobility, but if you're stunned out, obviously you cannot cast that. So that can make things a bit dicey for him.
Is that going to be the first summon on the Web Weavers? iDream is getting the gems in. That will be the 3 needed. And here they come in favor of Cloud9 Maelstrom. Tempo Storm, they've caught up in experience even with the deficit on takedowns, but now they're forced to defend this big push.
So of course the Web Weavers will be pushing down the right side of the map. That
Ooh,
is
my goodness.
Views. Oh yes, we do see the Polymorph is going to be good to take down Illidan. We've seen this time and again. Actually, Maelstrom making full use of this in the last series to make a good way to deal with Illidan. If he's silenced and is unable to use his abilities, that's going to be a big hindrance.
I mean, that's why Brightwing is such a good response to a hero like Illidan, because he's all about the mobility. Once you take it away from him, when he's a pig or a squirrel or something else that's terrible, he's not going to be too happy. And we do see this big rotation in the middle of the map, the phase shift, the blizzard raining down, but Dwarf Toss is going to be enough for him to escape.
Very, very close, especially considering the Avatar hat that was on for the time being, almost able to take up that takedown onto King Caffeine.
What's that ability, Kubi? That's a mule. Gonna heal up those towers. We're actually seeing a big pickup in popularity from the mule just in today alone. It has fallen out of favor recently, but, well, the times be changing.
Tempo Storm looking to hop on that mule train and saying, "Yeah, okay, we see its uses that it's had throughout the tournament thus far." And it, not only does it restore HP to the structures that are there, but if they're out of ammunition, it will also bring that back up and restore that ammo so they can fire back on those minion waves.
Yeah, Tempo Storm, they've really crawled back in. The experience dead even. They're catching up in the takedowns, getting that one pick off, nearly getting Murden a bit earlier as well. Right now, the gems, though, in favor of them since they have not turned in quite yet.
Zagara opting to go for the battle momentum and Envenom Spines, looking to just try to constantly have those abilities off cooldown, but hold on, KO. Speaking of Zagara, has he overextended a little bit, but really the nice pickup, even though he was stunned out, you can still fire the Avatar hat, the symbiote abilities, and that is really what was clutch in terms of picking up that takedown.
It's really interesting part of Avatar, because like you said, he was completely disabled on Zeratul, but that doesn't affect the Avatar. As long as this hat is present, the damage can still come out, but level 10 hit by both teams with the summon of Tempo Storm. What do we have for those heroics?
Yeah, suddenly things have turned around, but let's talk about those. For Tempo Storm, we do have the Blessed Shield. It is going to be the Void Prison. Ultimate Evolution, we do have the Blink Heal, which is going to be used, and of course the Maw. So there is that double lockdown potential for Tempo Storm on the other side of the map. Of course, we do have Cloud9's heroic abilities. We have the Ancestral Healing, the Phoenix, which was just used to do a little bit of zoning in the bottom side of the map. There it is. Avatar was picked up. We do have Water Elemental, and of course the Metamorphosis for Illidan.
All right, well, the damage is coming down here across the map with these Web Weavers. Dunk Train doing his best to fight them back, but Johanna is doing a nice job escorting that Web Weaver. Middle lane here, top lane, excuse me, gonna lose its towers, and the middle lane also gonna lose its towers.
Yes, Tempo Storm really just doing an even push all the way across all of these lanes, making sure they continue to get that experience advantage that they have, ride that forward, and just look to put a lot of pressure evenly across all of these lanes.
And that was just an Abathur clone that did fall, so that does in fact mean we have Ultimate Evolution as the heroic of choice of our Abathur, not the monstrosity that we've seen in the past.
For sure, a little bit of a difference in style. Again, it's going to depend on the size of the map. This one is a bit smaller, so it might be harder to get a bit of split push. And then, of course, which targets can you copy? Zeratul seems to be a very strong pick. Not to say that he doesn't, he has some great talents, which, of course, you have to mention you don't get the talent pickups when you copy that clone, but really he does get the cloak. And if you have two Zeratuls going into the backline, let's talk about that backline. It's Kael'thas and Jaina, some scary targets, especially with that low mobility. I think it's a great choice.
I think it's going to be crucial for them to get in there and dish out that damage. iDream is taking quite a bit himself. The Polymorph being used once again. Not sure if it's going to be enough this time. That first aid has been used. He's actually going for Brightwing, but the Metamorphosis is actually forced out for an escape.
Yeah, they'll take it. That is a huge ability that has been taken down. And now Tempo Storm has a large advantage in terms of being able to apply pressure. We see that Dread is going to phase shift in. Is he going to be able to keep Soldier alive? The Abathur hat, and of course the Blink Heal. We see the Maw thrown down. I think this probably is a good opportunity for Tempo Storm to back out.
Wow, the body blocking there. The Ancestral Healing does come down onto King Caffeine to keep him alive. We do see that the Gravity Lapse was used on Zuna. Not a ton of damage from Flame Strike at this point in the game, but it will get scarier once we hit 13 and 16 respectively.
Okay, and the turn-in points, are we going to see enough gems? Yes, I do believe we have enough for Cloud9 Maelstrom. They have seemed to have bought themselves a small amount of map control at this point. Will they be able to sort of harness the control of those web weavers?
Well, KO, he's going to do his best. He wants to just continue collecting those gems. Only 13 is needed. I believe he had 12 at that moment. 9 coming in here from Soldier. If one more member from Tempo Storm walks in with 4 gems, well, that's going to be more than enough.
For sure. Okay, let's take a look. We do have level 13 Johanna grabbing that burning range, so going to be even more of a nuisance when she's controlling those fights, but has that aura of damage that is constantly pulsing around her. We do have the wormhole from Zeratul. It's going to give a lot more mobility between these heroes. Yes, the Abathur hat is always a constant threat. It gives so much more power to whatever hero is chasing.
And that will be enough gems turned in here by Tempo Storm. They will earn the favor of those web weavers, which will march once more. Level 13 picked up, so they have the talent advantage. They have the map presence advantage as well.
Yeah, the other talents to talk about too, we do have the Ice Block for Brightwing. We've seen Dreadnought make so many plays time and time again with that ability, and of course the Hunter Seeker.
All right, Kubi, well, we do see that is the clone, Arthlon, the Abathur play, but working on that fort. We do have the web weavers here, pushing down Polymorph just to buy additional time on the health bars of those big queens.
Look at this constant pushing. We see, I mean, you have to always consider Zagara to be a huge threat in terms of push. She has many minions that she can summon between the Hydralisks and, of course, the roaches that can soak up tower shots. And iDream really is just kind of forced to defend this bottom lane as best as possible. It's going to be difficult. Excuse me, the top lane.
All right, well, yeah, so the damage is going down. Dreadnought with that hat going to take out that top 4. That is going to be the first 4 eliminated in the top lane. Tempo Storm still maintaining all 3 of theirs. Web Weaver making its way to the back keep of Cloud9. Really, this game looked very convincing at the start of the game for Cloud9, but Tempo, they are fighting back.
Yeah, they have done a lot to really bounce back. We saw the 3 takedowns very early in the game for Cloud9 Maelstrom, but it seems as though Tempo Storm is getting back their momentum moving forward. And in terms of structure damage, they have a commanding presence.
They really do. I mean, they're dominating the map right now, falling back to their bruisers just to give them more and more map control. More than a level lead, especially once we get to level 16. That's going to make things quite scary. And these mages, they have to constantly play so passively because of the threat of double Zeratul.
For sure. Look at the position that Abathur has in the top lane. He is just constantly soaking, pushing down those lanes, a very constant threat, and it's something that eventually Maelstrom is going to have to keep their eye on, making sure that the rotations aren't too strong from Tempo Storm because of that.
Wow, iDream was actually rich. He just turned in a bunch of coins. He still has 22 more. Zuna working on these bottom giants. Don't think they're going to catch wind of this. The Abathur hat will make it very just quick work here on them, and that will really help them defend in the bottom lane, allowing them to put more focus on the middle and top.
The interesting thing about when the map mechanic is summoned at this point, you can see when the mercenary camps are being still captured, because a certain point when the web weavers are summoned exactly, you can see that all of the mercenary camps disappear off the map for a short while. But if they're still active, that's a little bit more information, tells you that even though you can't see them, you are able to sort of have that information that the enemy team is taking that mercenary camp.
Yeah, exactly. But the bottom guys have already they're being pushed down by those giants in the middle lane. We do see that mule healing up, just getting incredible value throughout the match. I mean, really, look at these fortifications, completely healthy in all 3 lanes. Abathur, it's really paying the bills right now.
Yeah, just going for a very strong pressure all the way across the map. I have to say, it looks very, very consistent, almost methodical at this point from Tempo Storm. They're doing a lot to make sure they keep all of their structures alive, and at this point, Tempo Storm is going for the boss. I think that maybe Cloud9 Maelstrom is a bit too far away. Dreadnought looking to try to stall?
Yeah, well, they did use Clairvoyance. Like you said, Dread is looking to stall. He could potentially blink to that minion. He's going to do just that. The Gust of Healing working out nicely, but is it enough? Trying to juke. He bought enough time for the boss. So in the grand scheme of things, that's a 40-second timer in which he will be down, but they do have to respond to the boss. Do you think it's worth it?
That is a really, really tough call. I think that probably at this point in time, Maelstrom is just going to be looking to try to get their gems turned in. And I think that's smart. Further past this, they might try to take a fort, but I think with the pressure of this boss, they won't be able to respond in time.
Yeah.
It will buy enough time for Brightwing to get back up, and if they can guarantee some damage on this keep wall, sure.
It's already paid off. I mean, Brightwing will be up in 10 seconds. Johanna was able to stop the turn-in using that blind. And, yeah, 0 gems win at the bank when Tempo Storm just turned in 56 more.
Yes, it's all about buying map control.
Oh, the 11 gems that Abathur picked up
we
earlier.
talked about that in the early part of the game. He's looking for that opportunity the whole time to be able to do that. Funny enough that he would buy himself, and the rest of his team would buy himself the opportunity to do so.
All right, well, we do see that the middle fort has gone down. That means all 3 forts have been removed on the side of Cloud9 Maelstrom, whereas the top keep started to get exposed by that boss. Templestorm has summoned the Web Weavers in all 3 lanes once more, and Abathur positioned in the bottom lane
Constant
right now.
turn-ins from Templestorm.
Yeah.
They really just showing that they have great control on this battleground. 2 Blood for Bloods have been picked up for Cloud9 Maelstrom at this point in time at level 16. A strong push in the top lane from Templestorm.
Yeah, strong push in the top lane because that's where they're putting their focus to buy time for Abathur to do this in the bottom. Summoning those locusts, helping those Web Weavers push forward even more quickly. And that is going to be a nice condemn onto King Caffeine, but a very hard target to eliminate.
Yeah, I think we can see that, you know, Maelstrom knows it's a 4v5. Yes, they're trying to stop the mercenary camp, but if they see a little bit of an overstepping from Templestorm, they will go in to try to punish that. They need to, really, at this point. They need to make something happen. This 2-level advantage thus far for Templestorm. They're looking to put pressure on the keeps. We see that Abathur is constantly annoying this bottom lane.
But Tempo just so methodical with their safe pushing. They have the mules in the back line, but the Metamorph is going in. Soldier will need to use that Ironhide to back on out. We do see the Water Missile goes down. The Blink used by Brightwing. Condemn pulling them in, but the damage from Kael'thas is too much. That's going to be a takedown in Zeratul. That's going to be a takedown in Soldier as well. 2 for nothing, and Cloud9 is continuing to push on forward.
Yes, and we see Dread looking to try to make some jukes with that Blink heal. He will be able to get back to the enemy line. This might secure enough time for KO to get out, but this looks to be a massive overextension from Templestorm.
Yeah, they pushed in a bit too much. They didn't respect the aggression available. Dreadnought juking left and right. The Abathur has just barely not enough as the Living Bomb will explode, eliminating that Brightwing.
Arthlon remains as the only member of Templestorm yet alive. What is going to be the play from Cloud9 Maelstrom at this point? Of course, the Golem is not available just yet on the top side of the map. Probably another couple minutes before that will be able to be taken. And I think they're just looking to take as much structural advantage as possible to catch up that experience lead, which honestly they have done a fantastic job doing thus far.
They've caught up in experience, but in structures, that was the first fort they eliminated. Yes, they have the Web Weavers, but they're going back to base. They just want to make sure they're at full battle power for this next team fight. Mana was quite low on everyone, and we just saw Hearthing, so they're just going to go back home and restore that.
Okay, so yeah, only being able to take that one structure, I don't know, was that enough? Did they think they need to maybe push a little bit further? Hard to say, but you know, with Abathur out on the map, always pushing out those lanes as well. Not quite the full push Abathur style. We do see the symbiote upgrades at 13 and 16 as well. So, you know, it's a presence, especially with that trait. And the soak as well.
Yeah, but I think that build-up for this Abathur with Zeratul is just going to be crucial. They need that additional damage up. But Zuna getting very aggressive, going to use the Wormhole to get back into his safety net. And we do see Johanna just in the front line with that Abathur hat being very aggressive. But 19. Both teams 19. Storm Talent's at 20. It's going to be a very close dance getting there.
Yeah, that was a really huge play for Cloud9 Maelstrom to get back into this game. So much structural pressure has been put, but you can see, you can feel their presence on the map now at this point in time. They're out much further than they were. Just taking a few of those takedowns has gone so far for them to be able to bounce back, and you can just sort of see it in their play, how they're posturing around. The confidence is back.
Yeah, and Zuna is not afraid to get in their face, throw down a few abilities, and just Wormhole back on out. We're seeing him do that just about every single time that Blink is off cooldown. Look, there he goes, back on out. Just happy to just throw down any kind of chip damage that he can.
For sure. And that is going to sort of counteract a little bit, at least some of the poke damage that Kael'thas has now that he is at level 16. He does have the Flamethrower and Ignite talents. We've talked about this time and time again. Gives so much poke, and anytime you see that little fire that happens to pop up, that is the Living Bomb that gets proc from that Flame Strike, and it just does so much damage.
Wow, they're managing to deny the turn-in relatively well. They do have 48 in the bank already here. That's going to put it at 54, 11 more needed, 7 from Caffeine. Gonna go in, so just 4 more gems, and Cloud9 will have a fair amount of aggression on the table. And 20, oh, they're just a tick away, Kubi.
Yes, both teams are, and that might actually proc a fight between these two teams. Arthlon with the clone, Zuna, they're looking to put a lot of pressure into the back line. Is it going to be enough? Will Biceps be able to stay alive? That is, of course, just the Abathur clone that ends up falling there. They weren't actually able to get enough damage onto any of the heroes to take them down, but they were able to force them off a little bit too late, however. The Web Weavers are now being summoned for Cloud9 Maelstrom.
Right, this is what Cloud9 wants. The heroic that, of course, being the the duplicate for Abathur was utilized, was spent in that initiation, and now the Web Weavers are here. So Templestorm, they're not necessarily at full team fight power.
Sure. Soldier actually really far out, looking to just try to get as much damage in as possible to clear out these web weavers. This is a moment for Maelstrom to really sort of show that they are going to be battling back in this game 1 of the Grand Finals. I think I need to see them take a little bit more aggressive stances in these team fights.
Yeah, I mean, this is when they have to put that pressure on, when they have the aggression from the web weavers. But really, they've already lost 2 of them. Only 1 remains at this point in time. Zuna getting quite low, excuse me, that's Johanna, played by Soldier, getting low. They're getting, you know, put in their face right now. Dreadnought blink healing all over the place, making sure they're safe. The damage being dealt to the structures. They do still have Mule, so they want to fight this off and keep those structures alive.
Yes, now that level 20 has been hit, we can talk about some of the Storm talents that have been grabbed. Rewind for both Brightwing and Zeratul. That Rewind will be very important, especially paired with the Critter Eyes to help, you know, sort of corral Illidan with those multiple polymorphs. We do have Storm Shield for Johanna, and actually Rhaegar as well on the Cloud9 Maelstrom side of things. A lot more mobility has been picked up for Kael'thas and Jaina as well. We talked about how they were sort of immobile until level 20, getting that Bolt of the Storm.
We're talking a 20-minute summon. One moment. Oh, the Ancestral Healing went out, but not quite gonna connect. Look how low Dreadnought is. The Ice Block is gonna be enough. The Blink Kill goes out, staying alive. Zuna getting out of there as well. No one has fallen on the side of Tempo Storm, but Johanna is getting very low, and she does go down. Dreadnought staying alive for the moment, but Illidan dash. Oh, that was the Feral Lunge of Rhaegar dashing forward, and Ancestral keeps Dunk Train still standing.
Yes, and it looks as though Tempo Storm will have to back up. This is a really, really important moment for Maelstrom to get back into the game. I want to see them really just start to clear that opportunity for them to get to the core. Look to try to put as much pressure on a single keep as possible. You know, it's already showing that the history of this game is that Tempo Storm has the control over the objectives. You know, they have the control over pushing out the lane. So just give yourself the opportunity, if you take a team fight like that again, to close out the game.
Right, and that looked pretty convincing there, Kubi. I mean, it was a 2-for-1, but still, it earned them another fort. That's what they need. They need to catch up in structures, and this opens up the opportunity to start working on this back keep, but there is the Mule once more, constantly paying the bills for him.
So we see that C9 was looking to get some opportunities to turn, and they don't have enough gems quite yet to do just that. Looking to take some mercenary camps. I don't know. I think that this play might be a little bit too passive on the Cloud9 Maelstrom side. I mean, they're going to need to continue to take more fights like that, obviously. But when you do take those fights, you have to push that to the limit, the amount of advantage that you get.
You really do. I mean, each and every structure you take out, whether it be the wall or the tower, it's going to make a big difference at this point in time, because the Mule can heal it up if you do not eliminate it. But the gem's starting to go in. 18 there on iDream. 70 are needed to summon yet another pack. Zuna getting very aggressive on the backside, just scouting around, looking forward to set up on the Void Prison, but he needs it coming now because Maelstrom are pushing on in.
Okay, we just see the copy for Arthon in the back. That is the double Zeratul.
They're going for
Jaina. Bro, is he going to be able to stay alive? The Ancestral Healing actually did not hit the right target. And we do see that iDream is forced to use the Metamorphosis to try to put some pressure onto Zuna. Will he be able to blink out? I don't think he will be able to in time. He does get taken down.
A beautiful attempt there, but it didn't quite work out. Dreadnought with the Afterhead. 20 gems are going to be lost. Feral Lunge picking up that takedown. KO needs to back out. It's just him and After remaining. Cloud9 might actually close out this game.
Yes, it's getting very close, and this is the type of confidence that I want to see. And KO has overstepped his bounds, which is crazy because he was behind his keep wall. And you can see Cloud9 Maelstrom, they're going for blood. They can smell it. They're taking out this keep, and that is an entire 30 seconds before any member of Tempo Storm is back up. Of course, there is the Abathur back, but he has no one to copy. He has no way to fight this team off, and I think this is going to be the first Maelstrom victory we have over Tempo Storm in over the past couple weeks at the very least, maybe the past month.
Call it the Caster's Curse, call it what you want, but Cloud9 Maelstrom play phenomenally, and like you mentioned, this is the first time we have seen Tempo Storm even drop a single game since Zuna has joined their